It's just way faster with the AI. And I think it's very important that you still know how to write code without.
Welcome to the Never Employed Chat. My name is Sam, and I interview people who make a living beyond salary jobs, entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors, so that we can learn from their stories together. There are many great ways to make a living, and even more ways to wealth. At Never Employed, we encourage you to think of alternatives to employment jobs. What would you do if a salary job was simply no option?
You can only learn how to ship products by shipping products. So that's why I wanted to release as much as possible, even if maybe it's not going to work or something, but at least I'm releasing something, and I can see, okay, maybe I can get feedback about I tried this acquisition channel and maybe it didn't work as planned, or this one might have a potential for another product later. So the more you ship, basically, the more insight, I would say, you can get. And basically, thanks to that, you the next time you try again, it's going to be better and better until you reach a point where, okay, I can make something that's good enough to make a few bucks, and then the next one you make a bit more, etc., etc.
Yeah, as you describe it, actually sounds quite easy, and I experienced in quite different conversations with different entrepreneurs. It always sounds super easy, but you have had quite some experience in marketing and online ads and all this stuff before, right?
Yeah. So I started entrepreneurship when I was, I think, 19. Around 5 years ago. When I was 19, I think. And I really started from scratch. But then you learn, I applied the same thing. It's like I'm trying something, and at the beginning, I think people get really attached to the project. So when I started my first project, I was on it for 6 months or something, maybe a bit more, and I wasn't progressing. But I think it's normal when you're just starting out. But because I didn't have the try and fail a lot mindset. But and thanks to that, to keep it short, I tried a few projects. It failed. I failed a lot. I think in total, since I started, I failed around 30 projects or something like that. I include very small ones that didn't really got. I didn't put enough. How can you say? Yeah, marketing in it, but I consider that as a failure. But yeah, and by doing that, that's how I learned to prioritize. It's very important. You don't need a super fancy website with lots of animations when you're just starting out. So that really helped me. I'm not starting from scratch, obviously. When I ship my products, I know exactly, okay, I need to find the minimum amount of features possible, just barely enough, so I can test if people would be interested to pay for that or to use the app and stuff like that. And then improve based on feedback, because you cannot guess what's going to work. It's based on feedback. So that's very important. Just do the minimum, and if you get some a spark, then okay, you can then try to light the fire after. So yeah, that's my way of starting. And obviously, once again, the 30 failures I had made it possible for me to have a profitable business now.
But you also already worked for others as a freelancer in Google Ads or online ads in general, right?
Yeah. So, to keep going with failures, but at some point, I don't remember exactly how, but I met someone. I got introduced to someone who was looking for a guy to manage ads on Facebook to grow his company. It was an e-commerce fashion business for women. And because I knew how to run ads, because I tried all those projects, and even if they didn't work, I understood the basics. Then I was able to land a recurring gig, or like, I don't know how you say it, but recurring revenue every month to run their ads as a freelancer. That's my first, I would say, success, sort of. That once again happened because of thanks to the failures. So I managed their ads for 4 years or something like that until September of 2022. So thanks to that, I was able to learn like with bigger ad spend and stuff like that. And because I was seeing the operations and stuff like that, like for how they manage the business, I was able to experiment a bit more. So yeah, it also played a big part.
You'd say that this is crucial for your success with your current startups?
Yeah, 100%. Because I was making enough revenue to live from it, so I didn't have to like find a job and stuff like that. And I'm lucky because it happened right at the point where I was okay. I need to find like a job because I wanted to leave my parents' house. So I started to apply I think I applied at McDonald's. It didn't even took me. So it's it's like perfect timing, I would say. So I was able to move out to focus on work. And since I was making a living from it, it didn't took me a lot of time. So I could read books about marketing and focus on trying other projects. And that's during this time I tried lots of e-commerce projects. So yeah, definitely essential.
And after many products, you finally launched MakeLogo.AI at the beginning of December, I think, and was quite a success as far as I can say. What do you think about it?
Yeah, pleasantly surprised. I really didn't expect that. It was really like a totally random idea that came into my mind because I launched like a few apps before. The one before was Open for Ads. It's like a platform for media to find advertisers, and I made the logo using the same process. And I was like, hey, what if I could like make an app from that? I was like, okay, I'm just going to do an MVP in 48 hours. And I just randomly tweeted like, oh, I'm going to do an MVP in 48 hours. And that's how it got started. It got a bit of attention. And then like 1 week later, since I got a few sales from the MVP, then I launched on Product Hunt, and from there I got like a consistent sales. So it's way better than I was expecting, really. So I'm very happy about it, and also very grateful for all the support I got on Twitter, Product Hunt, etc.
Can you already say how sustainable the revenue from the startup is so far? I mean, it's only a month so far, but do you see peaks and drops, or how do you expect it in the long run?
There is an obvious spike, when you launch on Product Hunt, it's like, and then it slows down. So I know lots of people who launch are a bit disappointed, like, oh no, what's happening? But it's normal. It's like you lose the launch effect. But if you can get still like consistent sales after that, it's very good. So in my case, I still make a few hundreds, well, not a few hundred, but around 100 per day without really doing marketing other than, like, just when people ask like, do you have logo? I just recommend it. For me, it's a very good sign. It means that there is like a demand for that. So that's why now I'm focusing all my effort into it. And I haven't really noticed like spikes with, end of months and etc. because it's still too early for that. But so far I just noticed a spike with the launch and then get a bit what do you say? Lower, but still consistent. So it's a very good sign.
Going to the more technical part of it, you're using AI. So which tools do you use to run MakeLogo.AI?
Okay, so for the AI, I cannot really say the whole like stack because so far this is the main mode I have, because I know there are like a few people trying to do the same thing, but they don't have the high quality output at the end. But for the back end, I run on Node.js, and on the front, I just do HTML and JavaScript. I don't like having too much dependencies. If I have a problem with JavaScript, then I can just Google it and find resources very easily. So I want to keep things as simple as possible. I just use like a jQuery also. It's a small plugin. But yeah, I don't want to have like a big framework or React. In the time I would spend to learn it, I could have made like an MVP and stuff. So I prefer to keep things very stupid simple.
You also train your own models, or how does it work in general?
It's actually lots of post-processing. I have like a way to create like a training loop, sort of. And I think for anything with AI, it's very important. So if people, for example, like upvote or downvote a logo or text or whatever, then you can then add it to a new data set to train the AI. But that's mainly that and post-processing.
And did you, for MakeLogo.AI, did you use ChatGPT in some way? Because I saw that you used ChatGPT or learned ChatGPT during your coding journey.
Actually, most of the code is made by AI. That's very convenient. So it's more like I act like as a manager, let's say. So I write what I want. So you still need, the programming knowledge to know I want like what you can do. But for the exact code, then I use Copilot from GitHub, and also ChatGPT. But problem with ChatGPT is it's not always good code. So sometimes it's going to give you things that generate bugs. So you need a few tries and tell him, oh, but I get this error when I write that, and then going back and forth. But by using those two tools, I almost don't write actual code. I just tweak it a little bit or stuff like that. But most of the code is done by AI. I just do the architecture sort of.
And was that also part of your coding learning journey, to learn using these AI tools? Because I know quite some people who actually can't code very much, or actually not at all, but they can actually write programs just using AI.
So actually, it started to be available when I finished my course. So I can do it myself. It would just take way longer because I might not remember everything, so I would have to search a little bit. But I still have like my notebook, sort of. Like I write on an app. It's Obsidian, so you can write snippets of code and write a bunch of stuff. So really useful. So I don't really need that anymore with the AI, but I could do it without. It's just way faster with the AI. And I think it's very important that you still know how to write code without, because the day where, the AI don't give you a good output, then, what do I do with that? You cannot fix it and stuff. So it's important that you are able to understand what it's written.
Learning to code within those few months is quite impressive from my point of view, because I myself have been trying to learn coding for quite a while, and I have not been able to launch such a startup in that way, or even get good programs to work. And I think that's a thing many people struggle with when they start to learn coding. Therefore, I found it super impressive that you seem to have a very focused curriculum, and that you learned to code to such a high quality in such a short time.
I was already familiar with HTML and CSS with e-commerce, because I had to tweak a little bit design and stuff from here and there. But so I already had some basis from that. So I think it's also important to mention it. I was interested in coding, because I love, video games and stuff, and I wanted to make my own. So I used to like copy and paste code. I didn't understand anything, but so I had I was a bit familiar with it, but I never really went into it. But I think in April, I feel that, with recession and everything, I knew I didn't want it to be in the marketing field, because marketing budget is the first one that get kicked out when there is any recession. I knew that the routine I had was not going to be sustainable. So, okay, I really need to learn that. Like, there is no other choice. I just stay in my hotel. I think from May to July, I just stay in the hotel, and I was doing code nonstop every single day. So it's not the funniest, routine. But I did, like, for me, it's like, no choice. You just do this. So I was waking up in the morning, gym, and then the rest of the day just code nonstop. I was obviously like taking some like breaks in the day because it's very like, intensive for the brain. Like you, at some point you're like, so, just like watching small like a series on Netflix or scrolling on social media. But otherwise, most of the day I was just focusing, like writing code. Also, my like main advantage of living in Bali is that you can get all the food delivered to you, so you don't waste time driving, going to restaurants and stuff. So that really played a big part, I think, in that. And that's how I was able to learn, like really focusing. That's not the most fun things once again, but you have to do what you have to do. So just, yeah, lots of focus.
Actually sounds like you had quite a big motivation there to actually learn coding, right?
Yeah, because so I have some reserves, so I can, live for 1 year, maybe 2 years without revenue. But when you go from like having income to like zero per month, it's like, so I really hate this situation. So it was like my danger zone. So it's like dangerous. I cannot stay there. So I think when you put yourself in a position where you are in this like zone, sort of, you can really achieve way more than what you are normally capable of. If you have like, fun routine, like going out with friends and stuff. And I think it's really like, it's not motivation, it's just like discipline. Motivation helps, but discipline keeps you running on the long run.
Then I'm still interested, without having too much coding knowledge in the beginning, or mainly these HTML and CSS basics, how have you been able to create a path for you for what you want to learn, how you want to apply it? I mean, I think it's super difficult for many people in the beginning when they don't know what's possible and which tools are out there and what should I learn and all this stuff.
So I actually, struggled a bit with that at the beginning. I was trying, what's the best language to learn and stuff like that. And everyone was saying React, but then other people were saying, no, you should learn Ruby and Rails. I think it doesn't matter that much because I was also on a forum, Fastlane forum. It's like about entrepreneurship and stuff. I saw a few person getting good success with, like learning to code and becoming successful after. They said, oh, I learned that, but honestly, just pick something and start. And I think it's very important. Just pick something and start, and you can move after. I actually started with Python, and then I realized, oh, maybe Python is not the best for web development. So then I moved to JavaScript. I chose it because you can do, both front end and back end with that. So it's very, you don't have to learn two languages, and the more your front end skills improve, the more you also get better at back end. So for me personally, and that might not be, the best answer for everyone, but it's what made the most sense back then. So I started to learn JavaScript and Python. I'm also really happy that I learned Python because it made, learning JavaScript very like way easier because you find a lot of similar concepts between languages. So yeah, I just picked Python a bit, I think, a bit randomly because it was
because people just say, hey, Python is the easiest, so start with Python.
Yeah. So and it was like, Python is also used for like data science, artificial intelligence, and it was before like all the hype about AI. So I started with that, and I actually directly took another class after about artificial intelligence to like make your own models and stuff. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's nice, but I need to learn like web dev now. So, and then I took another course about web development. So it teach like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and front end and back end. So you can do like, you go from zero to make to like a whole like web app. And yeah, that's how I was able to start my first mini project. So it was really small things at the beginning, but as I said earlier, like the more you ship, the more familiar you get with the process of shipping. You learn, it can become like automation sort of. And yeah, so that's how I was able to ship products very fast after.
And also sounds like you were very early on quite determined that you want to build web apps, basically, right? So you knew quite clearly what type of thing you want to build.
Yeah. I've never really thought about building mobile apps. I thought like programming was like, super complex, and well, it is, but it's not as complex as I thought. It's obviously deeper. You can always get some super complex stuff, but to make web apps, it's fairly, like, I wouldn't say easy, but you just need some basics, and you can, find duct tape solutions. And I do that a lot, when sometimes I don't know how to do something. Okay, whatever. I will just make something not optimal, but that will do it for now. Yeah, for me, web apps was the first part, like the first step. I didn't really plan to do mobile apps and stuff like that. I might in the future, but that's not really the plan for now. I'm fine with web apps because you can, like, if you look at most of the things, I don't know, like Canva or I don't know, other web apps, it's like on the web. So yeah, I don't know. That's just how I got started with web stuff.
Something that also interests me is how does your like iteration cycle in building products in general look like? Because I assume that from working with your client before and working on many different products, it also teaches you how to validate products, how to learn things, when to drop projects, and when to go on, and all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so one very important thing in e-commerce, I did dropshipping. Some people are not familiar. It's basically you don't have inventory, so you have your supplier who send directly to customers, and it got quite a bad reputation because lots of people sold very low quality products, etc. But it was like, I would say, dirty industry in a sense that lots of people came here with a get rich quick mindset, and they, like, everyone was copying everyone because the barrier to entry are very low, because you just need to find a supplier for the product and you can just go with that. So the strategy, what I call the meta is, for people who play League of Legends and stuff, it's the most efficient way of doing things, but it changed regularly. But the meta in general was try a shitload of product until one sticks. And you have to learn to dissociate yourself from the product. And that's a thing I noticed with a lot of indie makers, is that they love their product, and they don't, like, even if it doesn't work, they will stick to it for 1 year. So I think that the first thing, it's very important that you are emotionally detached from your project. And as for the actual process, so I would say, so first, you get the idea or you notice an opportunity. Obviously, it's always easier when someone asks, "Oh, how can I do that?" And then if you build it and you message him like, "Oh, I did that," and then it's very likely that it will convert into a customer. And I did that for an app I made. It was an app to restore like old pictures using AI. And I don't know, it was a guy in the comments, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to make a landing page. I made something in like a few hours, and I texted him, "Hey, I made that. So if you're interested," and I got the first sale from that. So that's one way of getting the idea and kind of validating. But I think most of people will not, get that. So we'll get an idea and we'll try to validate. What I did for that, I started getting some followers on Twitter. I think I had 500. It's not a big deal, but it's not nothing either. So I was lucky to validate from that. But for my previous apps, I had no following on Twitter. I wasn't even using Twitter. So what I did, because I was familiar with ads, I ran ads. So I ran ads on Reddit, and I was the app was like AI, like artificial intelligence blog writing app. So you get hundreds of them. I didn't realize that back then, but that was my first official product. So I run the ad, but I try to get a different angle. So I think for this one, I targeted people doing affiliate marketing. And that's when you think about blog writing, you think about bloggers or people doing SEO or whatever. But I got like a different angle, and I know people doing affiliate need lots of content to rank in SEO and stuff like that. So I'm going to focus on that, and I wrote my ad was something like a write blog post like very quickly. I don't remember exactly. I think it was a demo video, and I got one sale from that. So I was like super happy. It wasn't really sustainable. Like I didn't get more sales, so eventually I killed the ad. But I got one sale from that, and another one from someone I know that needed that. So I think that's the hard part. To validate the idea, you need to talk to people. So you can either, if you don't have like an access to a community, you can like pay for it by running ads or asking, I don't know, like a moderator of a community if you can post on, because on Reddit lots of people get banned because they don't take the time to read the rules. So if you have a subreddit that is perfect for your project, then the first thing to do is just contact the admin, so you can then make a post. You can find like Discord communities, etc. But that's also part, like some kind of validation is, can I actually reach my target audience? Because if you cannot reach your target audience, you might have an amazing product, but how are you going to promote it? So, if you're doing like an app for, I don't know, like a nuclear power plant, like central. So I don't know the exact term, but and you don't know any nuclear scientists, then, good luck selling them anything. So I think lots of people underestimate that you need to be able to reach your audience to sell anything. So either by paying it, either by working in the community, so posting content and stuff like that, but you need a way to access it. So that's the first thing I'm trying to validate. Can I get access to this audience? Doesn't mean then the idea is dead, but for example, I had another project after. It was like also an artificial intelligence, but for customer service. And it was like a chat before ChatGPT. So you can write, where's my order? And it would, answer you and tell you, your order is here, here's the link and stuff like that. And my first target was e-commerce owners, because I was in e-commerce. So, it's like, I know this, what they need and stuff. But the problem is e-commerce owners are not really online. Like there are a few ones on Twitter, but it's not like a majority. And lots of them hang out on Facebook groups. But the problem is that all the Facebook groups belong to admins that are promoting something. So it's their product. So they will not allow anyone to promote anything there. So, okay, I cannot do e-commerce. I cannot reach them easily. I could have done it by ads, I think, but I didn't want to spend too much. So I just changed to SaaS owners, because it's way easier. Like there is, a community on Twitter and you can reach them out way easier. So it's more accessible. So I didn't end up pursuing that app, but that's an example of a pivot if you cannot reach your target audience. But I don't know, there is 1,000 ways. I cannot give like a step-by-step plan, but it's just try to find a way to reach your audience.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important point that you're making there, that it doesn't even make sense to work on a project or product if you know that you can't even reach your target audience, right?
Yeah. So yeah, very important to validate that before spending months building the project, getting attached to it emotionally, and then I wasted 2 years on that.
Do you have certain goals for 2023 or for the coming month in general?
I really want to see what I can do with MakeLogo.AI because it's fairly new to me, this stage of having like something proven in software at least. I've done it in e-commerce before, so I know the overall things I have to do, but it's not like a clear path either. So for now, my goal is to prepare for scaling. So I made a few tweets about that, like adding proper tracking to know your numbers and fix any issue you could have, reduce the amount of customer service. And once I will have done that, then I will definitely run ads and try to really scale it up to see where I can push it. And in some cases, you cannot scale an app or a product because the market there is so many people, and well, if you reach them, like all of them, or all you reach by your means, then okay, that's the boundary. I cannot go further than this. So you can let it run just like that. And if that's the case, I think I will start working on other projects while still maintaining it. But yeah, I will definitely try to scale it up. There is a big bubble with artificial intelligence, so everyone is starting to be crazy, and that's actually a bit of a red flag for me, because if everyone get into that, it means that everyone will try to copy what's work, because it's like the same get rich quick thing. And I feel like it might impact the built-in public community with wow, this person made, Lovelcio made like 100,000 of sales in 1 month. Damn, I want that. So they make their own version of the app and it discounts the value. And then it's like a race to the bottom. And I've been there before with dropshipping, e-commerce. So I'm very careful with that. And I would rather build like a shovel business. So during the gold rush, the people who made money were the ones selling shovels. So I think if I have to work on another product, yeah, that would definitely be something more like I don't know, not necessarily a way to create product with AI, but maybe help. I don't know, something useful for the industry somehow. I don't have anything in mind, but I would probably focus on that. If I find like a really cool idea with AI, I might still do it, but let's just say I'm a bit like careful. So yeah, I'm not excluding to sell the app also, because since there is like a bubble, it's perfect time for selling. So I will try to scale it up, and I will see from there what are the opportunities.
Okay, so you are not attached to MakeLogo.AI, and you definitely consider building more apps.
I mean, I am, because it's my first app that really works. But if it makes sense from, I would say, like a business point of view, then I would do it. It's I don't want. I think it's important not to let emotions block logical decisions, basically. So yeah, it's enjoyable for sure, but I don't want this to be a problem, basically. So yeah, I'm not excluding making other apps, but for now, all my focus is on MakeLogo.AI until it's either I would say reach the market, like what I can do with it, or I sell it, or maybe I have more time because I have a team or something. I don't know, but for now, it's all my focus is all on it.
Then is there any way people may eventually support you on your further journey?
Well, obviously, following me on Twitter, always help, because I think it's very important for anyone like indie hackers. Launching a product hunt right now, from what I saw, is all about the community. If you have like a very exceptional product, you will get upvotes anyway. I saw people with very little following getting some. But I mean, most of the time it's if you have like, people ready to upvote you, then you end up first. So yeah, I mean, just following me on Twitter is nice. And if anyone need a logo, obviously, MakeLogo.AI.
Hey, then thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah, wow, it was a pleasure.
Thank you for taking part in this Never Employed chat. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interviews with business owners and investors, or simply listen to the audio version in your favorite podcast directory. Make sure to follow me on all your preferred social media platforms, so that you never miss life-changing business tips. You find me on every platform with the account name samhartmann.com. Start a business, become successful, and tell me about it. See you next time.